What's going on, everybody? Off the Mike Sports Network here, a little after 8:30 Pacific time here on the West Coast, and a lot of coaching movement in college football. Ryan Silverfield, the Memphis head coach, is going to Arkansas. John Sumrall, the Tulane head coach, uh, is going to Florida, and Alex Golish, the USF head coach, is going to Auburn. And so a wave of group of five coaches that are going to the SEC. That's a big deal. Still waiting on a couple other jobs to fill up. But the one thing that has not happened that is expected to happen is I think Lane Kiffin is going to leave Ole Miss to go to LSU. And this thing was supposed to be settled yesterday. It is now dragged into today. It was supposed to happen by some point this morning. You're supposed to have a team meeting. Now that team meeting's happening a little later today. Listen, even if this somehow makes a 180 after this gets posted and he does stay at Ole Miss, I'm over this shit, man. I'm over this shit. It could be fun college football drama. This is nonsense. This is utter narcissistic nonsense. I wanted to convince to myself that Lane Kiffin, after all those years of, the famed, tryout, or I guess whatever you want to call that, when he was like nearly 20 years ago with the Raiders, and then the whole Tennessee and then the USC thing and him getting fired on the tarmac. Nothing that this guy has ever done has been anything less than dramatic. And now he's got a family, and his daughter's dating Whit Weeks, who's a player on LSU, and there's all this other stuff that's going on. You got he was flirting with Florida for a while. Now that's off the table. Listen, and I've seen so many people, and people who are supposed to be respected in this industry say Lane Kiffin should coach Ole Miss in the playoff, even if he leaves. First of all, what a ridiculous premise that is. What a ridiculous premise that is. You want a head coach to coach be hired by a direct rival to you, leave the team in the middle of a playoff run. I understand the calendar is shitty, but this is the way the calendar is. So there are two solutions to this problem. Stay at Ole Miss, tell LSU, which has its own issues as well. I understand that the talent is more rich there, and it's probably an easier path to winning a national championship at LSU. But you just proved to do what nobody else could do at Ole Miss. You had the most historic season, winning a season, regular season, that program has ever had. You're going to the college football playoff. You've accomplished one of your goals in your career is to go to the college football playoff. You're going, no matter what happens. And yet here we are, and we've been waiting for 2 days to figure this out. This thing is dragged out for more than a week at least, because there was an announcement last week, hey, we're in the middle of a bye, that we're not going to do this. I'm over this shit. This guy hasn't changed. This guy still is the same guy who he was 10, 15, 20 years ago that got fired on the tarmac coming back from Arizona State. This is the guy that left, in the middle of the night from Tennessee to go to USC. Same guy. There's nothing different about him. And no matter, even if he does stay, this is all just a ploy to give him all the attention. And the fact that so many people within the industry are trying to justify him being allowed to coach, he wants to leave. Every indication that we have gotten in the last week is he wants to leave because that is a better job. I understand that. But if you mean to tell me that Lane Kiffin just went 11-1, one loss to Georgia this entire season, is going to the playoff, and he is willing to leave, just the fact that he is willing to leave, why the fuck should Ole Miss allow him to coach? I don't give a shit. He shouldn't be allowed to coach. That hurts Ole Miss because he's directly in there to, recruit against those people. It's really ridiculous. Like, I really hate the whole premise of this whole thing. And there are people who are saying, yeah, it's a hard thing. No, it isn't hard. You want to know what's the easy decision? Stay at Ole Miss. You're hurting your players. I mean, I give the players credit for going out there in a tough situation in the Egg Bowl, a rivalry game, and winning that game. I know Mississippi State's not very good, but still, that's a tough situation knowing your coach might be going one way or the other. But this has been a freaking commercial and a freaking just reality show that has played out in front of our eyes for the last 2 weeks because this guy just wants attention. He wants attention. He is the hottest commodity in coaching. Everybody wants Lane. And now Ole Miss is going to be screwed here. They'll probably end up getting a good coach because, hey, they're going to the playoff. But holy shit, man. Like, it's just the whole coaching. This is what's really wild about this whole thing. Everybody thought the first domino to fall in this whole thing was going to be Lane Kiffin. And yet we've seen 3 SEC jobs get filled up before him. We've seen 3 SEC jobs get filled up before him. Arkansas, Auburn, and he wanted the Auburn job when Hugh Freeze got hired a few years ago, but that didn't happen. And so Arkansas, Auburn, and Florida, the other job, Florida already moved off of him. And they got John Summerall, who's going to be a pretty good coach there too. John Summerall's a very good coach, and I think Florida fans who are upset with that, I think, are idiots. But listen, I think he's going to go to LSU. I thought he was going to go to LSU for about a week. Maybe he's still weighing it, but the fact is he consistently keeps going to the notion that, hey, the calendar's screwing this whole thing up. I want to coach these kids. Well, the calendar is the way that it is, and you could you've proven that you could win at Ole Miss, and you could build a good team at Ole Miss. Why not stay there? Why not stay there? Stop playing this victim shit. If it's so great and you want to coach the players, the one simple answer to this question is stay. But you're not going to. You've been weighing the possibility of leaving this team in the middle of a playoff. You're asking a ridiculous premise, by the way, to coach this team still in the playoff when you're actively going to be recruiting and doing your other job at LSU. So how are these players supposed to believe in you? Because one, they might be mercenaries and you might be taking them with you. And so Ole Miss, what does Ole Miss have to gain by having you coach the team in the first place? It's a whole dumb premise. I'm over this Lane Kiffin stuff. He hasn't changed. I wanted to believe that he did. He's done a really great job. He's a really good coach. But this is the same guy that we have seen through his entire career. The one that left Tennessee in the middle of the night to go to USC, the one who's gotten fired at the tarmac, the one who couldn't make up his mind when the Florida Atlantic job came up and Nick Saban just told him to go. This is the same guy. He's about himself. He's about getting attention for himself. And you know what? Even if he ultimately makes the ultimate babyface turn and goes back to Ole Miss, this still is ridiculous. All this drama and all this attention, I'm over it. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see how this story plays out, but I think Lane Kiffin is going to LSU at some point later today. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.